Many of us are already dead. Yes, disease. So I'm going to explain this with a simple explanation. So, do you guys relate to planning to scroll social media for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, which then turns through to 300 minutes to 3 hours and 5 hours? So I believe everyone here is having the same experience as me. So it's a relatable experience that we all experience everywhere. And we are dead in the real life and we are living in the social media world. So today I'm going to discuss about the new pandemic, which is social media addiction. First things first, a pandemic is a disease that is spread throughout a country or maybe the whole world. And we can see that social media is evolving. Every single one of our friends is using social media. Everyone is using social media across the world. Yes, and social media brings somewhat of a negative impact. Mental health and relationship problems and all those problems. So I believe it's the new pandemic. And I'm Bryant Kandani, 17-year-old entrepreneur. And I'm going to start this speech with a story of mine. 2019 is where the 2019 is where the COVID pandemic hits. I spend my whole day, hours by hours, day by day, years and years, in my room because there's the COVID pandemic. I cannot go out of my house. My school is in my room throughout Zoom, and all I can do is spend my whole day, my whole life at that moment scrolling through social media, playing games, and watching movies in my room. So technically, I can say that I'm dead in the real life and I'm living in the digital world. I mindlessly scroll through social media day by day. My screen time was more than 13 hours per day. And I believe a lot of my friends also experienced the same thing in the COVID pandemic. But here you go, 2024, same social media but different Brian. 2024, now I'm 17 years old, I can make my first billion rupiah and impacted millions of people with the same social media. So, today I'm going to discuss about how social media is the silent killer of our generation. But ironically, I'm a social media agency owner, which means that I create thousands and thousands of contents for my clients in social media. And me, myself, I'm also a content creator since 10 years old. So 7 years in the 7 years in the industry, 7 years making thousands of contents. And yeah, it's very ironic that I keep saying the dangers of social media, why not to use social media, how social media kills a lot of people. And on the other hand, I'm a practitioner. I make a living out of social media. I make thousands and thousands of contents for me and for my clients. So let's start by knowing our enemy better. Why? Because when we're fighting a battle, we need to know about our enemy. So the odds are stacked against you. World-class researchers are working together, putting a lot of effort to create an algorithm to boost our screen time. An algorithm to make us more attached, to make us more addicted in their platforms. These platforms, social media platforms, use variable reward systems, similar to gambling. Yes, so it makes the experience unpredictable and so compelling. Every scroll, every DMs, every post we make, there's a reward to it. It might be small, but it compounds to be something big. Say you post a content, you get the reward of getting likes, getting follows, getting comments, getting shares, and every single scroll you make, it generates a new content for you. Entertainment, something new, information. So every single thing you do in social media gives you a reward. And the funny thing is, a lot of people say that the experience is similar to playing slot machines in Las Vegas casinos. So all the odds are stacked against you. And one of the biggest strategies they use to make us addicted is they exploit our weakness. So, not only we need to know our enemy better, but our enemy has already known us a lot better, I think. Right? So, they exploit our weakness. So here's the thing about social media. When we post contents, we have the options to choose on what to publish about ourselves. We might look bad, we might be bad in real life, but we can choose to post only the good sides. We can choose only to post about our strengths, not our weakness. To post about our achievements, not our failures. There's the freedom of choice. Is that we lie. We post something that is not true. We exaggerate things about ourselves. We exaggerate our strengths. We lie about our achievements. And this creates delusional standards. Because all we look in social media is other people's strengths and the best version of themselves, which they curate and they choose to publish. So we keep comparing ourselves. We see that, oh, all our friends, all other people my age is better than me, while you forget that they also have their weakness just like you. And for the people who post only their best sides, even they lie and exaggerate about their strengths, is they get a fake sense of validation. So the harsh truth is we have some weakness, and weakness means it's a homework for us to fix that with some efforts. And when we post about only our strengths and we get the validation, wow, you're so cool, you're doing great, it makes us forget about our weakness. We boast in our lies. We boast in those validation, which make us prideful, forgetting that we have weakness to improve on. And yeah, lies, delusional standards, validations, and all this also creates loneliness. The best way to cure loneliness is simple, is to meet people and make genuine interactions with people. But social media covers our loneliness only for a while. Say you're lonely and you scroll, you get a sense of interacting with someone, which in reality you're not. But you feel like you're interacting with a lot of people. You scroll, you watch thousands of contents from thousands of people. You get likes from thousands of people, which actually is not a genuine interaction. So what this does is makes you even more lonely again, because you're not doing the right thing. You're just covering up your loneliness with something that doesn't cure it. And last but not least, you become FOMO, fear of missing out. You feel like you have the sense of obligation to know every single updates from your friends, from your loved ones, from your peers, which might be not important for you or not relevant for you. And even worse, you have the sense of obligation to see other people's posts, which you don't even know them. They don't even know who you are. So simply because every single one of our friends, almost everyone is using social media. So if we don't use social media, we're going to be the one standing out as someone weird. And every problem, every disease, every bad things have the antidote and the solution. So this is the cycle of how we can craft our new identity free from social media. The first starts with self-awareness. That's why I started with knowing our enemy better. This can trigger our self-awareness. Self-awareness means that you realize, you have the clarity and you know that how social media is impacting your life, and especially how social media is negatively impacting your life. So when you have the self-awareness, you know what's true and what's bad. And from self-awareness, you need to craft your purpose. You need to find your purpose. Why? Because when you have a strong purpose, you have a big purpose or dream, a fulfilling one, or a purpose worth chasing after, you will have more appetite chasing your purpose rather than chasing social media. When you have a big purpose, social media will be less appetizing for you, because you can differentiate, you can discern. Okay, if I scroll social media, this will hinders me to chase my purpose. If I scroll social media, this will bring bad compared to good for me chasing my purpose. And simply, when you have purpose, it triggers your motivation. Yes, you have the appetite, you have the hunger, you have the ambition to chase your purpose. So this is motivation. And a lot of people only start with motivation. But if you start from motivation, it's not long lasting without a purpose. So a purpose with a motivation is something very strong. A motivation drives you through hard times, through a lot of sacrifices, but it's all going to be worth it, and you are willing to fight for. Which from motivation comes actions automatically. When you're motivated to do something, you're going to do it. So it translates to action. And simply, actions that are repeatedly done consistently creates habit. And a good habit that compounds becomes your new identity. So it's the step process of getting a new identity. I know it's not instant, just like scrolling social media. It's not instant. But if you go through this cycle, I believe that we can craft our new identity. But I think if we stop with our new identity free from social media, free from the negative impact of social media, I think that we are missing out a lot of things because we're just free. I mean that one of the laws from the book 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, one of the laws state that learn how to use your enemies. Or I like to say, make your enemies as your best friend. So, use replacement, because habits are very difficult to break, but habits are much easier to replace. So, you can replace entertainment content with educational content. We live in an abundance of informations and abundance of learnings. And with social media, we can have abundance of access to a lot of data, information that we can learn. We can pick up a new skill. We can learn a new subject for free simply by social media. And again, it's always our choice to choose on what content to consume, on what content to watch, on what content to spend our time to. And if you can learn to replace those entertainment and meaningless content to a much more meaningful content, I think it can change the way we use social media. Because social media is a leverage. And what a leverage does is when you become a consumer to a producer. This is what I did, and this changed my life. So being a producer makes the best time of being a consumer. So actually you consume for something good. When you consume, you can make it as an inspiration, as you're learning instead of meaningful scrolls, meaningless consuming. You can turn it into meaningful consuming by becoming a producer. When you produce, you inspire people. When you produce, you open opportunities. Say, talking about impact is, if you make contents and you want to impact people, you want to give value to people, only 30 seconds of your content, maybe you spend time 5 to 10 minutes creating that content, could be watched by millions of people, hundreds and thousands of people from one content. Such a big leverage to become an impact. And talking about opportunities, you can get a lot of money quick from social media. Say my friends I have friends that are influencers, and one post that they can make 10 million rupiah with effortless content that they make only for like 10 to 30 minutes. 10 million rupiah. 10 million rupiah is equivalent to 2 months of a 9 to 5 worker's salary. Can you imagine 30 minutes compared to 2 months of someone's full-time salary? And I think it's mind-blowing because there's even 13-year-olds, 9-year-olds kids that are making those kind of money through social media. And talking about opportunities of social media, I think it doesn't really make sense for me, a 17-year-old boy who's not really prestigious in school, but I can stand on this prestigious stage, TEDxYouth SmakOne. And I've also networked, and I also network with great entrepreneurs, great people through social media. So that's the opportunity what social media offers: money, impact, networks, collaborations, and a lot of other things. So if you can learn to know your enemy, then you can learn how to conquer your enemy. Then you also can learn how to make your enemy as your best friend. So it's inevitable that we are living alongside with social media. And in the future, social media will be more amplified. But it's always our choice on how to deal and respond to social media. Thank you. Thank you.